Hi everyone, happy Sunday. Yes, I think we're live. Hi, how are you? I hope everyone is having a great day. It's a sunny Sunday, so actually, like, it feels very nice after we had like minus 20, feeling like minus 30. It feels nice to have some sun and to have some, warmer temperatures. As I promised, I'm here live with my dear friend Adina, and she's a therapist, so she will help us to understand what depression is and what can we do to fight with it. But for the start, I remember something last night, and I want to share this with you because for me it's very challenging to describe who I am, right? So, and I know I have like a bunch of new people in my Facebook. So I hate to say, my name is, I am that, and I'm a mom, and I'm doing that. I think I do so many things that for me it's actually a challenge to be able to explain in a few words who I am. But I remember something last night, and I was laughing myself, so I want to share it with you. So many years ago, I think I was like grade 1 or 2. This was back in Romania. We had like a couple of channels, and it was very fancy back then. We had like a couple of like Italian channels and like French. So Italian, we had like Rai Uno, Rai Due, something like that. So I was a big fan of one of the like the animation series that they were showing, and it was called. I remember even now because you have to listen to the story. So it was called Occhi di Gatto. Anyway, so the idea was like a bunch of like girls. They were superheroes, and they were just like protecting the people, and they were saving the planet. The normal story, right? Like how do you call, like Captain Planet? These were the cartoons that were at the moment, like Sailor Moon, Occhi di Gatto, Captain Planet. These cartoons. I was a big fan. And one day, me and my best friend back then, my childhood friend, so as I said, I was like grade 1 or 2, so I was like 7 or 8 years old. We decided that we want to do the same thing. So what we did, we got a bunch of like leggings. We cut them, so they were like black, but they were a bit like see-through. So we cut them and we put them on like as a mask. And that's the way we walk on the streets for a couple hours. And in our mind, it's like we wanted to find little kids that they're potentially like bullied by maybe like older kids, and we wanted to fight for them. So we did that for a couple hours. Of course, we didn't see anything like that. And at some point, we actually realized that people are laughing, when they're seeing us. So we decided to give up. But see, this is who I am. Like, since I was a kid, like I wanted to help. So I guess the reason for this live today is that I really want to help, to understand better what depression is, because I know it's a very sensitive subject, but it's very important. I was actually planning to have this live last month, which is in Canada, it's called Let's Talk Belmont, which is a depression awareness, right? But we were both busy, so yeah, we are a bit late. But I think there's no like certain time to discuss about depression. This is so actual, and it's so important to discuss whenever we have the chance. So I know myself a couple of things about depression, but I'm not a professional. So that's why I invited my friend Adina, because I think she's facing that subject a lot in her work. So I would like to invite her to tell us what depression is, and then we'll take it from there. I have a couple of questions, and some people, they wrote to me, and that they shared their question as well. Hi Adina, thank you so much for having for making time again for being here with me today in this like beautiful day. Thank you so much for coming, and you start the way you want. If you want to like give like a definition of what depression is, it doesn't matter. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me again, Luminita. I think you're right. Talking about depression is important, and because January was the month where it is okay, and we're invited to talk about it and make it be like, okay, it's seen a lot in our society. And I was reading an article last month that only 1 in 10 people in Ontario are happy. 1 in 10. So that kind of shows you that there are things that are making us unhappy as a society. And just because it's normal doesn't mean that it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Depression was much lower 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not as normal, but now it has become normal to be depressed. And most people that are depressed don't know they are depressed. They only realize that they were depressed after they come out of it. It's a very sneaky one. And depression is actually more like a global definition of a diagnosis. It's not a symptom of it on its own. It's built of many different symptoms. But underlying under all of those symptoms is just not being able to feel happiness, not being able to feel alive, not having a purpose will lead to depression. And there are certain mental and emotional states that define depression, such as the worldview that the world is bad or I'm bad. There's something wrong with me. I don't deserve it. I'm not happy. And then there's actions that stem from those thoughts, like not trying as hard, giving up faster, not doing the things that you want to do or that you're passionate about, not even trying because of the not good enough, I'm afraid to fail. So that leads to a series of behaviors that never happen, like the things that will lead to happiness, and maintains the person stuck where they are at the moment because they don't have the leap of faith to move forward. And then they become depressed. So that's sort of, and I think that everybody has a story like that in themselves of something they never tried or something they always wanted to do that they didn't do because life happens. They get busy with their family and their jobs and whatnot. And there's something that's being put on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, realizing that it was very significant to them and it hasn't happened, and I think that it will never happen for them. Yeah, it can lead to unhappiness.
Okay, so how can we figure out if we have depression or not? This is exactly what we said. Like, this is something that we don't discuss openly, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that's very sensitive. It's very private. And exactly what you said, like, we very well may have it and we have no idea. Maybe we just believe that this is normal. It's normal to feel this way. Maybe it's related to our childhood or that, like, and I want to ask you this question before I forget.
Mm-hmm.
Is this genetical?
Well, genetical.
Or is it inherited? Like, I think maybe is the proper question. Could be inherited.
Well, it's not really a straight answer to answer you this question, but I can give you a couple of scenarios in which you can see how it can be transmitted forward from mother to child. If the mother is depressed, and I've had a client like that whose mother had chronic fatigue, and chronic fatigue is kind of like depression, where they have a hard time even getting out of bed or taking care of, the mother cannot take care of herself. She cannot take care of the child because that's how depressed she is. So that child started to take care of the mother. And what happened when this child grew up, it was burned out. You don't want to, it's like, I'm tired and I don't want to take care of myself anymore. I've done it so much. No one is taking care of me and I don't want to take care of myself anymore. So it was transmitted because it was for the child to have a parent that's depressed and to have to take care of the parent in that way. It was not age appropriate. The child needed to be taken care of, needed love, needed to go out and play, needed to feel happiness. The child couldn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So they became a part of the child that was lost.
Yeah.
And thought, I don't know how to get my happiness back. I don't know what my hobbies are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who I really am. I don't know what are the things that make me happy. I just have to keep doing X, Y, Z, starting taking care of other people excessively, family members or husband or friends.
Mm-hmm.
All they know is to be a caregiver, a caretaker. They don't know how to take care of themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about, let's say, if a grandparent has it and let's say the parent doesn't, can the grandchild have it?
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it.
Okay.
But it's a similar cause and effect.
Yes. So let's mention right now, you mentioned a couple of things before, but like let's mention what are the symptoms. You know, how can we figure out if we have it, or maybe somebody, you know, like a loved one or somebody at work or like a friend or somebody, how can we know if they have it or not? Are there like a couple of symptoms that they...
Well, there are some symptoms for sure. But again, first of all, I have to mention I'm not a diagnostician, so I don't diagnose anybody with anything, even depression. So I cannot diagnose. But there are some telltale signs that depression is there.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, feeling really tired and exhausted all the time, right? Feeling unhappy, feeling empty, feeling dead inside, having anxiety and living in fear of many things will lead to, I'm going to shut myself out, I'm going to isolate. So the behavior of isolation from the world.
Yep.
Thinking that I'm incapable to function, or I need someone to help me function, and that someone isn't there in the way I need it. Anything that leads to the sense of I'm lacking something, or the world is lacking something. I'm bad, then the world is bad. And because the world is bad, then I'm never going to be happy in this world. Right? But that...
Do they actually tell you that? Do the patients actually tell you that? Or you know somehow what questions to ask and you, you know, you make...
Yeah, when I work with clients, I never go to, oh, you're depressed. Because most people come with their life problems. And
this is a hard
problems lead to unhappiness, right?
Yeah. This is a very hard diagnostic. It's like similar. It's not, you know what? It's not similar, but like it's like you say someone that has cancer. Like it's, you cannot just say like you have depression. Like it's not a...
Yes, and oftentimes anxiety and depression can have similar symptoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because anxiety, again, a negative view of the world or a negative view of the self will trigger anxiety because it's a sense of threat. So oftentimes depression and anxiety come together.
Yeah. How about now? We're already like in the year 3 of, you know, the COVID pandemic. So you already mentioned that they usually, like the person that has depression, like tends to isolate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were kind of forced to isolate. So do you think that was like even something that will... how I don't know how you want to put it, like will drag that person even more like down in the depression, like deeper in the depression?
It depends. It depends. It really depends on the precursor factors, like the stuff that was already there. Mm-hmm. And I've heard a few different views. Some people were relieved when that isolation happened because they were very socially engaged to have a certain image of themselves in the world, and it was exhausting them, and they didn't realize And
Mm-hmm.
when the pandemic happened, I was like, oh my God, I'm finally getting a break. This feels good. I don't have to go here and there and prove anything. I could just sit here and be myself and find the passion that
Yeah.
I have time to find something else other than what society told me that will make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And some
Okay.
people were like, whew, right? Initially, and then it probably got to us. But then we have families, right? People were husband and wife working together, children going to school from home, managing all of it becomes tiring. People don't feel like they have work-life balance.
Yeah.
They can't escape and go out. And now there's more family conflict. Whatever was underneath that they could be like, okay, I can take a break from it when I leave my house and I do this and I see my friends and then, feel good. No, you're always in it and then you're forced to work through it.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people that were lonely that didn't even feel the difference because they weren't going out anyway.
That's me. That's me.
Oh. So then you didn't feel it much.
I didn't feel it much. Having two small kids, we are not going anywhere anyways. So
Yes.
for us, was not a bad thing.
Yeah. However, I have to tell you, we don't know we're depressed until we come out of it.
Oh yes, I admit that, and that's why I was depressed too. And exactly what you said, I realized that I was depressed after I came out with it. I was depressed when when I had my first son. For those couple of years, I was depressed, and I didn't know exactly what you're saying. Like you have no idea that you are
because
depressed.
you have to survive. You have to work
Yeah.
through it. You're
Yep.
busy. You have to do what you have to do. And maybe when he grew up a little more and he was a bit more independent and you take a breath, you're like, oh my God, I missed myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I actually snapped out of it back in 2020 when pandemic, like for me was good. Exactly what you said, because in 2020, I started to discover who I really am, and I discovered my passions in that. And for me it was very helpful.
Yeah. I'm happy for you.
Yes, me too. So that's why I think, as I said, like this subject is very, very important, because I think so many people, they may have it and they have no idea and they don't know how to deal with it, because you may have depression, but it's very important the way you're built too. Like if you're a fighter, if you're like a strong person, strong character, maybe you can overcome it easier. But if you're if you already have so many like issues and confidence issues and that, I think it's even harder for you to deal with depression on top of everything that you're going through.
Well, the thing is, depression is always there and people are going through it every day.
Yes.
Right?
Not a perfect society, right? It's not a perfect society.
It's always there.
Yes.
Right? That's why I don't focus on depression ever. If self-esteem leads to depression, I will focus on self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
The depression will lift when you figure out the part with the self-esteem.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I want to ask you one of the questions that I received, because I think this is very important and I don't want to. So a friend of mine asked me to ask you, for parents that they separate and they have young kids, so we're not going to talk about the parents here, but we're going to talk about the kids that they have depression after the divorce. How the kids how the parents help the kids to speak up their mind and stand up for themselves. This is the question.
Stand up for themselves? Oh.
Yes.
Do you know details of why the kids have to stand up for themselves?
I guess the whole situation, like after the divorce, is not a happy situation. It's not a happy place.
Yeah.
It's a rupture between the right, and then like there's two families now, and then So I guess this is not easy on the kids. It's not easy on the kids at school to have to answer those questions. Like my parents, they're divorced now, and so I guess this kind of questions, they're really hard on the kids.
Yeah.
especially when they're younger kids. So
Yeah.
how can we help the kids to deal with this?
Well, I think understanding where the kids are and what they're going through will kind of help us how to manage. Although there is no magic or one magic pill on how to deal with this.
Yes.
The parents have to be really in tune with the child's needs, and the parents have to be very comfortable facing the sadness and grief of the child that has lost its family unit. And it becomes difficult because the parents are hurt themselves. Oftentimes parents want to be brave for the children, so they don't show their vulnerability, and then the child thinks that they shouldn't show their vulnerability. They have to be strong for the parents.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's also the guilt, right? I think it's the guilt part.
Exactly. So inviting showing your sadness, it's okay. Like I have so many clients that says that in their childhood they weren't allowed to feel sad.
Yeah.
And now for the first time I'm allowing them to feel sad with me, and they don't know how to cry. Right? So all of these things are important. And so that's one part. And then the second part, probably there are three parts. So the second part is conflict between the parents. Right?
Yes.
The child might be upset because of the conflict between the parents. And the rules changed. Each household will have its own rules.
Yes.
And the child will be confused, which is normal. So what can you do? Each parent should be aware that the child is facing rules in the other household and that the confusion is there. And instead of being upset or blaming the partner for parenting them that way, which is very hard. Those negative feelings are there. So it's just being aware that the child is confused. So just stopping and checking in with the child's feelings. And oftentimes, people are busy. They need to go and eat, do this, do that. Solution, right? If you eat faster, we're done, we can move on to the next thing. And stopping and checking in with the child's feelings is time consuming. But it's what needs to happen for the child to be able to express their feelings.
Perfect. Thank you. And then another question that I have is, what can we do to fight with depression? And another question, but it's related to this, is saying, is daily sorry, what did she put it there? She said, I think daily working out or like daily exercising. Yes, impact depression.
Yeah, I mean, exercise will definitely help because it releases endorphins into the body and serotonin. So these are things that will get the heart to pump faster and the blood to flow faster, and it kind of gets you moving. The problem is people that are depressed are
they don't want to. I know.
So they will never even get there.
Yes.
In this situation, my advice is to not start with a workout, to start with
maybe a walk in the nature,
5 to 10 minute stretch.
Or stretch, yeah.
Because I say, do something that feels good, where you don't have to pressure yourself that, oh, look at me, how I look like. You're depressed, you start eating, you gain weight, then you hate your body, then you hate yourself more, right? So don't even go there. God. Do something. 5 to 10 minute stretch, not for the purpose of losing weight and looking better and becoming whatever. A 5 to 10 minute stretch where you allow your blood to flow a little bit. Right? Something that feels good.
Okay. Another question, still related to.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, you see, okay.
Yeah.
So what can we do to help fighting the depression?
Yeah, that's a bigger question. Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah. Do you still want me to go ahead, or do you want to?
Another question that I got, and I think it's a really cool question. Somebody asked me if getting a pet help. So in this way, I don't want to make like, so I don't think you know, like just get a pet because you're depressed and then you feel better and then you give the the pet to adoption. No, but like, can having a pet help with depression? Like a dog, like a dog or a cat. What does it matter?
Let's
Pet.
just say I got a dog, so
You're not
I'm just gonna speak from some personal experience here. I don't have any research on pets and depression, but having someone there is definitely nice, but it comes with its own challenges. So yes, he's sweet. My dog is very sweet and very loving and everything, but I have to get up in the morning, right? So he makes me get up. I have to take him for all those walks and it's cold and I don't want to go, and I'm like, I have to go. I don't want to. But then when I'm out, I actually take more air, which helps to make me feel better. It's like, oh, I'm out, right? So it changes your mood just because you're out. And then you have to, depending on what type of pet it is, right? It will require time, education. So there might be feelings of anger when the pet doesn't listen or breaks something, or it's not a miracle cure getting a pet. It's a responsibility.
Of course. So it's like a child. It's like a child. Like, let's put it this way.
Yes. So, thinking, oh yeah, I need someone to love me and I'll get a pet. I mean, that's not.
No, the way I see it is the other way around. Like, I want to love some, and if you're not in a relationship or that and you don't have kids, you can actually share your feelings and your love and your care to a pet, and then you have a purpose. You have a purpose, right? Because you have to take care of that little. It's still a soul, right?
You have a purpose, but is that your purpose? Your purpose is still there in the air. People don't just want a purpose. They have their own purpose. It doesn't go away, right? You're not running away from one thing to another just because you have one purpose. But I guess for someone that's super depressed, that hasn't been feeling well for years and doesn't know who they are, and no. I mean, if they are well enough to take care of a pet, sure. But sometimes that's how pets either get abused or neglected, right? And it's really sad.
Okay. So then what can we do?
Well, you said, how do we fight depression? And I think the word fight itself is the problem, because we have to stop fighting ourselves. That's the first thing. We have to stop fighting ourselves. We have to stop telling ourselves these mean things. A lot of people that are depressed are very critical of themselves, right? The negative world view of themselves, the critical thoughts. You have to stop fighting who we are, who we should be and who we shouldn't be.
Okay, so embrace it, and then?
and that's it. Because, you see, this is the thing. Okay, let me ask you something. Why did you say and then? What did you have in mind?
Okay, because I'm trying to understand, like, what can we do, like, to actually feel better? Because I know from my research that depression is something that you actually can, can heal, or it's not something that it's for life. So my question is, okay, so we embrace it. We don't have to fight.
The thing is that the embracing part takes many years and a lot of work. It's not something you can tell yourself, oh, I woke up today and I decided to embrace it and yay. Right? And that's it. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. So that's my question. So what somebody has to do, like, to speak about it?
Well,
to get help, what kind of help, where to go?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, you have to admit that you're unhappy, right? And second of all, you have to decide, am I going to do it on my own, or am I going to get help? Because a lot of people think they can do it on their own, but then they start ruminating. They think they can be their own therapist. It doesn't work. It will lead to people will get stuck in that. And a lot of people get stuck there because it's really important for them to do it on their own. It's my fight. It's my mind. I'm not going to let anybody in here. Actually, I was in that state when I was in England back in 2012. And it was the first time I left my house, and I was away from my parents, and I went to university, and I lived close to the campus, and I got so depressed. And it happened over time, but it got to a point where it became really bad. And I was just so much pride that I'm studying therapy. I should need a therapist. Like that kind of mindset. And it took a lot. But it got me to a point where I was very, very, very sad. And I was just crying out of nowhere. Right? So it was just, and I didn't even know why. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know why I was sad. I just knew that I was sad. And I still remember that first therapy session when all the emotions came out. And then I felt better. After that one session, it was enough to get me better. I had 2 more sessions with other 2 therapists afterwards, but they weren't as good. But that one session that I had helped me to overcome that whole situation. Because my problem was that I had no one to share my feelings with. And the moment I shared them, it was done. I needed someone to listen.
Yes. So what are the options? Like, where can somebody go? Exactly what you said, to share the feelings and get like some professional help, right? I know there's a bunch of like hotlines where you can call, like even we mentioned about the Let's Talk, right, Belle? But what are the other options? And tell us about you too, like the way you work and what you do.
Okay, well, okay, so options. There's meditation. Some people like to meditate. Some people like alternative therapies, right? Like Reiki.
Yes.
It really depends on each person. If they want someone that's more scientific and they want something proven and tested, they will go for cognitive behavioral therapy, which will challenge their thoughts and their action. They think, okay, if I change my thoughts and my action, then, somehow it's all going to happen over time and I'm going to start feeling happy. The limit with that therapy is a lot of people understand what they need to do and they do it, and they feel just like mechanical. The feelings, they can't connect with the feelings still. And in that case, my suggestion is that they need deeper work. So then
that's something that you do.
Yes, yes, I do the deeper work. And it's mostly, it's a model that involves a lot of resourcing. I'm teaching people how to breathe in certain ways that invite soothing. It's not just mindful breathing for the purpose of focusing on the breath itself and to push the thoughts away. It's breathing that embraces who we are in that moment as a whole. Like, for example, the heart breath is a way of breathing and sending yourself love. It has purpose. So there are a bunch of resources that become part of the therapy to increase and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Because in the end, that is what's going to give us the good feeling, is the sense of being loved. The sense of being loved brings in safety, and it relaxes the nervous system. And when we're relaxed, we're happy.
Yes.
Right? It's when you're able to, at the end of the day, after you've done your work and maybe your kids are in bed and you sit on the couch and you take your first breath, and like, oh, now
Yeah.
it's my time.
Yeah.
Right? So we
I
want
just
to
want
push that out more. Yeah,
to,
go ahead.
sorry, Teja. I just want to touch the last question so I don't forget.
Yes.
Just like a review, because this person asked me, can depression be healed?
Well, okay, let's put it this way. We're working with symptoms, not depression. So we are healing the symptoms one by one. And if you look at it like a layered onion, all your symptoms, all the issues are like the layers of an onion, and we start to peel the onion.
Mm-hmm.
Always gonna find more onion underneath each peel, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I remember our last live, and the conversation was focused on anxiety, and exactly like what you said today. Like depression is so linked to anxiety too, right? So you have to work exactly what you say. Like it's layers. So you have to work with like anxiety and fears and everything,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
I know, and I asked you last time, and you gave us some examples, but maybe you can give us. You mentioned now, so meditation and that, like daily exercising, or you said breathing, seeking help, like professional help, right? Like therapist or psychologist or whatever it is, right? What else? Is there anything else that you can think of that can help right now? And strictly like on COVID situation, because let's say there's many people that maybe before COVID they had no issues whatsoever, and then in these 2.5 years, now 3 years, they are depressed.
Well, I don't think COVID caused the issue. I think it's just whatever
For some
was
people
there.
it did. For some people it did, because I know example for with people that I talk to, and I think this is a problem for the people that they were very social before, and then with the restrictions and that, they were not able to socialize, they were not able to go out, they were not
Yeah.
able to see their friends. So I know personal people that they were not able to see their families, and they were depressed because of that.
Yeah. So in those situations, the underlying problem they've always had was being alone.
Yes.
People that surround themselves with a lot of people and are really busy all the time, and they cannot stand being by themselves, well, that's the issue that was brought to light when COVID happened.
Do you think because they feel they're not enough and they need somebody
To keep, it could be to validate, to they need to shine, they need an audience, they need to be seen by another. That's the problem. And I think that's where most of our mental health issues stem, is that most people believe that love has to come from someone else, that appreciation has to come from someone else, that acknowledgement has to come from someone else. And without that someone else, we can't exist, we can't be, we can't love, we lose our purpose. Like all these things are sign of dependency on other people. And what I teach over time, it's not an easy process, is to learn that the same feeling that comes when somebody gives you a hug, even a physical hug, you can get when you accept and love an aspect of yourself. Right?
So each of us, we're enough, right? And this is the part that I love, about you, and that's why we connected so well. And maybe we're gonna have another life going deeper in this kind of like subjects.
We can just talk and talk.
Yeah, I know. Because I love your views, and I know what you mean. Like you believe that we're all enough, and we don't need nobody to, to confirm that we're enough. And of course, we need relationships. That's normal, and that's that's life. But we don't need anyone to validate us.
Well, the thing is, we do need it, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't feel the way we do.
Exactly.
But how do we overcome the need? Because how do we overcome the need? Because here is what happens if we don't. There's consequences to our lives if we don't overcome that need. Like all the actions you take are to make someone else happy. And then you don't take the actions that make you happy. And then you become depressed. So see how the need for someone else can lead to depression.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not an easy choice.
It's not.
Like I cannot show my sadness to my partner because they're gonna think less of me. They're gonna see I'm grumpy again and I'm destroying the mood. And right now we're supposed to be happy, right? So again, and then it's being set back. Nobody knows. You're alone. Nobody knows how you feel. You're in a relationship you've been waiting your whole life for, and you feel lonelier than you've ever felt before. Right? Like things like that happen.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I just got the idea for the future life. I don't know if you accept it, but I'm already saying that. I really love to make another life with you regarding self-love.
Yeah. Maybe we can even do like a couple of breathing exercises or something.
Yes, yes. So I think this is going to be a cool subject that people are interested in, and I'm personally interested in too. Do you have anything to add? Because we're getting close to the end. And then do you have anything to add, any advice or any thought,
Yeah, well, I mean, my advice to the world is our choices matter. That I think that's the last thing that I want to say is beyond therapy and beyond the meditations and beyond all the good things you can eat properly and do everything properly and go to therapy and do everything right. Choices still matter. So if you keep making the same choices that cycle into the same things, people will not come out of depression. And sometimes these choices are very hard choices to make. So that's the last one.
Thank you so much, Adina. Thank you everyone for watching. And just to conclude, you guys matter, and you matter to me, and you matter to you, and you matter to everyone. So exactly what Anna said, just open up. Like, don't live like that. If you think that you have, like, if you're sad, if you're lonely, if whatever goes in your life, don't keep it just for you. Speak with a friend, speak with a therapist, speak with somebody, speak with maybe like your boss at work, or you have to have somebody that you can.
To have somebody that that they are able to tolerate your sadness, your vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
If you here's the thing: if you force yourself to talk to someone that intimidates you, that you don't feel safe with, even if it's your partner or your boss or your parent, if it's someone that you've shared in the past and you feel like they didn't get it, chances are, if you try to say those vulnerable things, that you might get re-traumatized.
Yeah.
So it really has to be someone that, when you share, they're gonna hold you in that space of love and allow you to be you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Adina. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope you have a good day. And until next time, please stay safe. Okay. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.
Take care, Melissa. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.